Welcome to Bears Banter. Welcome to Wildcard Weekend. Bears Banter is where the Chicago Bears fans come to talk about the Chicago Bears. Happy New Year's to everyone. How's everybody doing on the broadcast?
Great.
I'm good.
How are you?
Okay. Hey, tonight on the broadcast we have Flournoy, Jaye Beasley, Guy Moore, Tammy Harris, and Mike Outten.
What's up?
All right. Hey, Donte, we're not sure if he's going to be able to make it tonight. He's actually on his way back to college, West Illinois. Donte is our intern. I think, did I say Guy Williams? I hope I didn't merge your names today, but Guy Moore, if I said Guy Williams.
You must think I'm loopy because the guy from Lost in Space. Guy Williams.
I had to think about that. What did I say?
That's how you know who I am.
Right, sure do. Hey, to this weekend is Wild Stars Wild Card Weekend, and we have some real good games. I want to say because they added the extra game, I guess extra 2 games. There's 10 hours of football both days. So, hey, all the guys prepared to be in the doghouse this weekend.
hey, guess what? Guess what? I got a 4-day weekend. Thursday, Friday, my off days. I took off Saturday, Sunday.
Oh, you got the right idea.
I took off Saturday and Sunday. I ain't even got to work.
Let me tell you, you coming with that 4 up. I'm going 6 no Trump. I'm off till next Monday.
Hey Jay, I know why you took off too. I know why you took off. You took off for that pick.
That ain't why I took off.
You needed to stay in the house. You had to stay in the house. You ain't come outside.
Already witness protection program.
Right. You know, witness protection, man. You just can't come outside right now. I get it.
My name is James. I don't even know Jay. My name James.
Wow.
I was spending a little time. Hey, I was spending a little time with the wife, and then I'm gonna watch me a little football, and it's all good to the good.
No outside.
Don't forget the national championship game on Monday too, right?
On Monday, absolutely.
Man, is this gonna be football for 3 straight days?
Oh yeah,
3 straight days.
Oh, okay.
Roll Tide.
Hey,
it's just Alabama. It don't even matter. Why you gonna even watch the game? They gonna probably have a bad game and score about 45 points.
Hey, just real quick on another note, which I don't know if we got time on this broadcast. We talk about that Deshaun Watson debacle in Houston right now.
That's interesting.
What do the Bears need to do to see if that can happen?
It's gonna be a straight up trade here for Trubisky.
That's another story.
I'm joking. I'll take that today.
Okay. Yeah, that's another story.
He's not the right color.
That's an interesting thing, Jay. The Bears. You know what? If it sounds like it has any truth to it, the Bears have to make that phone call. They have to make that phone call to say something. You cannot just not make that phone call.
It's not gonna happen. He's not the right. He's not the right color crayon. He's not the right color crayon.
Cut out, Mike. Mike.
He's not the right color crayon in the box. They only deal with 8. You want them to get the 64 crayon box. They only dealing with the 8. They not gonna get the 64. Not the right color crayon.
I'm with you, Mike.
But you know what though, man? I mean, the realness of the thing with the Bears, I was shocked with the whole thing when they signed Khalil Mack. But when you come into a thing like that and you're interviewing like some people were trying to do this thing with Deshaun Watson, and you show up with a Crown Royal bag with some nickels. Come on, now they be lowballing, man. That's the only problem. It's like if with a guy like that, like you guys, we were talking about Dak Prescott. I was talking about Dak Prescott too. But that price tag, although it's a hefty price tag, either one of them dudes come up in there and they're our best quarterback in the history of our franchise. But you know, our folks, it's like, oh, you want $30 million? You know what? I tell you what, we give you $199. What? $199 million? No, $1.99.
Hey.
But the thing about it is, Deshaun Watson got a contract. So all you got to do is take on that contract.
That's a hefty contract, though.
It's not really hefty for a starting quarterback, though. It's not really, if you think about it, it's not really healthy for a starting quarterback. It's all about what you gonna give up.
Well, keep in mind the cap is
gave
going
up-
down next year too, right?
The cap is going down, but you gave up two number ones for Jay Cutler.
But see,
You
the
gave
Bears
up two
are gonna
number
be like,
Keith, you're exactly right. You gave up two number ones
You're
for Jay
right.
Cutler, and you gave up two number ones for Khalil Mack.
Right.
Do you give up two number ones for Deshaun Watson?
you already
And the
had him at
bottom
number
line-
one.
Yeah.
You actually had him at number one. But the bottom line is, do you do that?
Yes.
Do you do that? Because the
you
bottom
do
line is, the bottom
We
line
ain't had
is-
a number one in what? 4 years?
Yeah,
And
but
not
it's
only
two
that-
the same.
And not only that, the number ones that you've had ain't
They
panned out.
Right.
So if you give up number one for Deshaun Watson, at least you know what you got.
That's a
At
sure
least you know what
thing.
you got.
You're right.
That's
That's
a
a
sure
sure
thing.
thing for 10 years.
If
Easy.
was a fifth,
If it was a film, we'll all be drunk.
But when you start talking, like I said, when you balling out, like I can't stand that dude in Dallas, Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones show up to a meet for somebody he want. He just open up a checkbook and say, "Put a number in there for me. Let's talk." With us, you talk about you're gonna give up two number ones. It's like, dude, that come with like fries or you can't even be in a conversation if your interpretation of a number one ain't about some real money. A lot of these teams, if you look at all the teams that won, they ain't scared to spend no money. We spend it on Mac, and now it's like, okay, we did that one, but we got to skip a year. You got somebody out there we get for like 75 cents.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
I think everybody got good points, right?
Yeah.
So hey, let me look at some of the matchups before we get to the Bears game. This weekend you have the Tennessee Titans. They're playing Baltimore Ravens. You have Pittsburgh playing Cleveland. Hey, did y'all hear what Juju Smith said?
Yeah.
No, what'd he say?
Yeah, Juju ain't no punk. Juju ain't no punk.
They asked him,
Browns-
is this a different Cleveland team than what they've been playing in previous years? He said, Cleveland is still Cleveland.
The Browns are the Browns.
Right,
the
Browns are the Browns. That's what he said. The Browns are the Browns.
There's only been one team to win the championship in Cleveland and ever. So,
and Jimmy was the man.
Right.
The Browns are the Browns.
Channel his Noah, huh?
The
Bulls talking about we hate Cleveland.
Okay. You have Buffalo playing the Colts this weekend.
It's gonna be a good one.
Buffalo gonna hand that.
Washington playing the Bucks this weekend.
Greatest quarterback of all time.
My favorite game of the week.
Is it that one?
My favorite game of the week.
For what?
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna tell you something. The Bucks can talk all they want to, but I'm gonna tell you something. That Washington football team that ain't got no name, they coming to play. Them boys
That defensive line is they're beast. You're right.
They coming to play. They coming to play. So as T.O. used to say, get your
Let me
popcorn
remind you of one thing. I'm gonna remind you of one thing. There's a guy in Tampa Bay. His name is Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. I'm just gonna let you know that one thing. The greatest quarterback of all time.
Ichabod Crane.
All time.
Hey, but but quick.
You just got a defensive line. Dude, they said Guy's gonna be playing quarterback for them this week. They don't have a quarterback. They don't know who's gonna be playing quarterback.
Well,
That's a damn lie. Every play will be run right, run left, wide, folks.
Name me 3 people on the offense and
Me, myself, and I.
That's it.
Theismann. Oh, I'm sorry, that's wrong.
And I'm like, Jay, stop interrupting Nutty when he's trying to give the dang on game report.
Okay, I'm done.
Talking about Washington. They will win by 160. Cut it out.
Okay, I'm done. I ain't gonna say nothing else.
Okay.
That Washington football team gonna show up in some church shoes and some spirits.
Right.
They gonna be drunk and they gonna be crunk at the same time. Right. So Brady, come on, bring that Hall of Fame game, man.
That's gonna be my favorite game this weekend too.
Yeah, man, too.
I ain't gonna say nothing else.
That's gonna be my favorite one too. On the parlay pick, my favorite game.
Hey, you know what?
bet on Brady.
Since we talking about that, I want to say quickly. I can remember a couple people over the years. They would say something about Tom Brady, and at work, and it would be negative. And I would say, I guess you haven't won the football pool then. Because my thing was, if you bet on the Patriots, you probably at least you had that game in the back. But if you hated Tom Brady so much, you wasn't picking him. So I'm like, you must not be winning the football pool because you betting against Brady constantly. And they was like, no, I never pick him. I said, well, that's why you never gonna win because you always bet on Brady. You started out with whoever team Brady on, you put your 16 points on them.
Hey, Nutty, I got this ready for Jay, just in case he keep crazy. Just in case he keep on going. I got that ready for you. You go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm done. I ain't gonna say no more. Y'all haters.
The next
y'all
game
hating right now. I ain't gonna say no more.
The next game is Seattle and the Rams. And then we bringing it home. The New Orleans Saints versus Chicago Bears. Yeah.
My Bears.
Okay.
Hey, let's do a recap of the season before we get to our predictions today. This was an up and down season for the Bears, but as much as they made fun of me on this broadcast for picking them 6-10, they actually exceeded. Yeah, they actually exceeded my expectation. And this team, in one sense, has been resilient at times and lucky at another time because them not being able to win that last game against Green Bay. They actually needed the Cardinals to lose the week before, which the Cardinals did lose the week before. And since they didn't beat Green Bay, they needed the Cardinals to lose again, which the Cardinals did. So I wondered, they may have a little luck on their side as far as
what your record says you are. Stop it.
No, I'm trying to make a point, Mike. I'm trying to make a point that normally you don't get those many things happening in your favor. Usually the team that needs to lose twice normally don't lose twice. So this team has been resilient in the fact that things have went their way. That's the point I was trying to make. That things have went their way. So going into this game, I don't see this game, before we get to the prediction, as being as lopsided as some may think. Because from when you hear from people in New Orleans talking, they haven't even mentioned the Bears. From the New Orleans press, they're not even talking about who the Bears the Saints are playing. They haven't even mentioned the Bears like they're not even playing a team. They're just talking about the game like there's not a team they're playing. So that's my point of what I was trying to get to, that this team has been resilient in being able to come through at some of those moments. Because a lot of times when you have teams that have losing streaks, they don't come out of losing streaks and still not make no playoff. That doesn't happen. Usually teams get losing streaks. Those losing streaks continue on. So that's my point. Anybody had something to say before we get to the seasonal recap?
Well, we lost in overtime to New Orleans last time. Okay, they didn't have all of their team. They didn't have all their players. But this is crunch time. We're going to have to see. So at the very least, we have a little bit more confidence against them. So let's see what we do.
Yeah, Plank. And in that game, at some point in that game, the Bears was up 13-3 in that game. And New Orleans scored a touchdown right before halftime that kind of brought that game closer. But at that time, the Bears was having these miserable third quarters, which they kind of got New Orleans back in that game. And through much of that game, New Orleans was kicking field goals. I think New Orleans had 2 touchdowns and everything else from field goals. But unfortunately, the Bears was doing the same thing, kicking field goals. So that game was more, going into overtime and going into point in overtime, I think it was about 2 minutes left. There was a defensive penalty. I think it was illegal contact that put them in field goal position. Absolutely. And that happened on second down with about 2 minutes left. And after that play, Kamara caught a pass just to put them a little bit closer. And then with about a minute 40, they just brought out the field goal. So that legal contact even played a part in that game because that game was coming down to – it was looking more like it was about to be a draw because nobody had scored and it was 2 minutes left and it was still tied. I think the final score was 26-23. Was that the final score? Okay.
Yeah, that was the final. Yeah, that was the final.
That was the final score?
The final. Okay. Yeah, 26-23 in overtime. But I can say, you know, looking at this game, I give the Bears a lot more leeway in this game than I did last week. Y'all got on me for picking the Packers.
That's because it was Green Bay. Come on now.
But I feel a lot more confident. I feel a lot more confident with the Bears playing the Saints this week. But I ain't gonna go into all of that because we got to do the predictions. But just to piggyback on what you said, Bernard, the Bears was in that game. They led in that game, and Mitch Trubisky didn't even play that game. That's another thing. Trubisky didn't play in that game. That was a Nick Foles game. Allen Robinson. Oh my God! Well, I cannot speak more highly of Allen Robinson this year, last year, and the year before. This dude has really put out for the Bears, and I just can't understand why he ain't got a contract. But that's another story.
Okay. Hey, let's do a recap of the 2020 season. One of the things that the Bears have been good at this year is the Bears really had not been affected by COVID like some of the other teams. I believe they had 2 practice players that got COVID, but you had teams like Cleveland where at one point I believe it was all their receivers I think was out. Yeah. And in one game, I think they had a couple of coaches. You had several teams where they had coaches out that couldn't play. I mean, they couldn't even coach the game. I can't remember who it was 2 weeks ago or last week, whatever it was. One team.
The Broncos had their whole quarterback room.
Yeah, that's right.
The wide receiver playing quarterback. So, the Bears been fortunate. They've been fortunate this year.
Yeah, so they took the COVID protocol serious because the team I was thinking about that the head coach caught it, the assistant head coach caught it, and I think the person who ended up doing the game plan, I believe it might have been just the one assistant. It might even not even been the quarterback. It might have been the quarterback coach or something. They ended up having to coach that game. But anyway,
now.
Who's that?
Cleveland is going through that now.
It was Nagy.
Yeah.
Hey, Nagy trying to find any games he could coach.
That's right.
Hey, let's start the season recap with Jay who's going to give us a recaps on offensive production. Okay, hold on. Let me bring this up for you, Jay.
The Bears offensive production. We got Mr. Trubisky with 199 completions, 297 attempts, 2,033 yards, 16 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Montgomery, who actually had a really good season with 247 yards, 247 attempts for 1070 on yards and 4.5 on the average and 8 touchdowns. Allen Robinson, who is a beast, and he's been a beast since the Bears signed him. 102 receptions, 1,250 in yards, 12.5 on the average, and 6 TDs. And Carlos Santos, which I hate to say is our MVP this year. He's 30 or 32 on field goals, which is a 93.8%. Wow. 55 is the low. The Bears finished 22nd overall with 23.2 points per game. 22nd with 228 yards passing. And they actually had 105 yards rushing, which was 25th. So overall, they wind up cleaning it up a little bit because in the end, the Bears' offense was ranked 32nd in the NFL.
Right.
But over the last 4 or 5 weeks, they actually cleaned it up. And they made it. I ain't gonna say respectable, but they at the bottom.
Good point.
Hey, that's good information, Jay. Hey, Jay. Historically, I'm trying to remember how many Chicago Bears players had 100 receptions. I know I can think of Marty Booker. Who else had it?
It was only Marty Booker,
Johnny Morrison.
Johnny Morrison, which was so long ago. So long ago. Johnny Morrison, Marty Booker, Allen Robinson, and I want to say, without looking it up, I think Brandon Marshall's first year he had 100. He had 100 receptions.
Right.
Okay.
I want to say his first year he had 100 receptions, but we haven't had a 100-yard reception wide receiver and a 1,000-yard wide receiver and a 1,000-yard running back in the same season in a long time. Time. So that says a lot for our offense. Our offense is, to use my word, abysmal.
Hey, you know what? Pay Allen Robinson his money because that's incredible.
Pay that man.
Yeah, and that's with 2 quarterbacks. That's with 2 quarterbacks. You still get 100.
2 quarterbacks. That's with 2 quarterbacks. You still get 102 receptions with 2 quarterbacks. It's unbelievable. Pay that man his money. I don't know if they gonna do it, but it would be a shame to watch Allen Robinson walk away from this team. Not only because of that, but because he's been so dedicated to playing in this offense. He's been so dedicated. So pay the man his money. I would hate to see him walk. I really would hate to see him walk. But you got to pay that man his money.
Okay. You know, another person I would think of, did Curtis Conway have 100? What's that, Tammy?
I said, unfortunately, the Bears don't always reward loyalty.
That is so true. That is so true, Tammy.
Unless you're a coach.
Not named Lovie Smith for another crayon.
But to answer your question, Curtis Conway didn't have 100 receptions. He had 1,000 yards. He had 1,000 yards, but he didn't have 100 receptions. Him and Jeff Graham both. They both had 1,000 yards, but they never had 100 receptions.
Okay.
Because all the quarterbacks we didn't have in our career arm get tired by the third quarter. So I can't get the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, so what we want to do a recap next is on the defensive performance this year. Plank is going to do a recap on the defense.
All right, let's bring it.
Okay.
All right, Chicago Bears defense this year. Strangely enough, in the midst of this, I didn't get their defensive ranking. I think they ended up 13th, but I'm not 100% sure with that, so I have to check that.
11th.
It was like
11th. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Even better. All right, so what I wanted to do was give a little bit of information about the top players and where their stats were. And this actually surprised me as soon as I looked at it. There's one player who actually jumped off the sheet, and that is Roquan Smith. Roquan Smith led the Bears in tackles with 139 defensive tackles, 98 solo, 7 passes defended. That means he got his hand on the ball, knocked the ball down, 2 interceptions, 18 tackles for loss, hit the quarterback 6 times, and 4 sacks. If you look at all the rest of the players that are on the Bears roster, nobody else really came close. Now, we did have our guy Khalil Mack. He had a monster year as well. I thought he had a down year based on some of the things we were saying and how he played. But if you look at his stats, 3 passes defended. He got an interception this year, 11 tackles for loss, hit the quarterback 13 times with 9 sacks. So that translates into this guy was supposed to make All-Pro. Actually announced today they had Khalil Mack made All-Pro first team, and no, actually he made second team.
Second team.
And
Second
you had
team.
Khalil Mack and Roquan Smith both made the All-Pro second team, and first team was Cordell Patterson on the punt returns. Now, one of the other things I wanted to talk about is just very quickly look at the difference between Robert Quinn's stats and Mario Edwards. Both of them played 15 games. Mario Edwards got Robert Quinn had 20 tackles versus 17 for Edwards. Edwards got a pass defended, 6 tackles for loss, 7 quarterback hits, and 4 sacks. What that basically translates into me is that Robert Quinn was stealing money the whole year. Mario Edwards is a much better value for our buck. So let's kind of just bring this home as far as my idea of the top defensive players for the Bears. Number 1, Roquan Smith. Number 2 was Khalil Mack. Third on the Bears was Jalen Johnson. He ended up with 13 passes defended. Again, you're talking about Mike Quick. That means he knocked the ball down, and he didn't intercept it, but he definitely got his hands on the ball, and that's a bit of intimidation. The 4th best defensive player on the Bears this year, Mario Edwards. So I'd like to see him getting in the game a little bit more tomorrow on Sunday. So let's see what we're looking at. So that's what I got for the Bears defensive teams.
Wow. Mario Edwards.
Surprising, isn't it?
I got a little something on that though, Plank. What you got?
That's surprising.
Jalen Johnson had 13 passes defended.
Correct.
How many did Kyle Fuller have?
That's a good point.
They didn't throw his weight off. They didn't throw his weight.
That's what I'm saying. That's what that means. That stat means
and what
you to earn your money.
They going after the rookie.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's like it's high for a reason. That's why
you're absolutely correct.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
I didn't have a lot of passes defended. I didn't have a lot of opportunities.
They called it a shutdown.
That's ain't prime time.
They won't throw it your way. They won't throw it your way.
They won't even throw to his half of the field.
Not even Alcorn. They wouldn't throw them my way. Not even Alcorn.
That's how we run that.
Right.
Hey, I wanted to show a little short clip of what we said about the first Bears Saints game. Let me run that real quick. Tammy 4-4.
Oh wait, we start out immediately. Okay, we usually would beat in a little bit.
I hate to say this, y'all. I hate to say this, but I'm gonna tell y'all something. The Bears might need to go back to Mr. Biscuit. And the reason I say this,
I just don't really know what to say. I thought when he came in that first game that he really had more presence and more composure in the pocket, and he looked like he did. But like the more that I see him,
I gotta argue with you a little bit on that. At the end of the day, we're playing football. It's a contact sport.
Yes,
if you got a problem with somebody, you go out and you execute a block and blast them to be ready to respond to the playground bully. Last week, they got
Bears Banter, where the fans go to share their views on the Bears game. You too can get a part of the banter.
In order to
Be
get
sure to
something
like, share, and subscribe to Bears Banter on YouTube.
Poultry.
I love it. I love it. I said it's a shame, but I think the Bears need to go back to the biscuit. Hey, I'm just saying. Man, oh man. What a tangle web we weave. That's all I can say.
Hey, guys, I just booked in you and me when you said they defense is, what you say? Was it offense? Defense. He says poultry.
Poultry.
It's poultry.
Yeah.
Poultry.
Hey, Guy,
poultry.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, great.
Okay. Hey, Guy, we like this, since we ended with you saying that, hey, I like to go to where you kind of give a synopsis of the quarterback's performance this year between the Bears quarterback and the Saints quarterback since they actually played 3 quarterbacks this year. The Saints did because they actually played Jameis Winston for half a game, and then they went to Taysom Hill. Okay, let's bring that up.
Count, man. That don't count because Breeze and Hill was drinking. They just sent Jameis Winston to the store to get him, told him to go home. Right here, quarterback comparison. As you can see, Mitch played. It was 10 games he played. He started 9. You can look across the numbers. It's interesting that the yards per game is like exactly the same. Mitch has a higher average. They've both been sacked the same amount of times. They both have the same amount of interceptions, but Mitch has got like 16 touchdowns as opposed to 10 for that guy. And Mitch's rate is actually at 93.5, which statistically puts him as the greatest quarterback in Bears history.
Wow.
But back to that whole thing, yeah. But you
Put
look
that
down
cup
at the
down.
Saints. Yeah, but then you look down at the Saints. You have Mr. Breeze. He only completes 70.5% of his passes. He's almost got 3,000 yards. And you remember he was injured, so he missed some games. He averages 245 yards a game, a 52-yard long. It had to be a yard after carry because I don't even think Drew Brees can throw a ball more than 9 yards. He only has 6 picks this year. He's been sacked only 13 times. His QBR, quarterback rating, is a 106.4. Let's go to the next slide where we actually look at some numbers from the actual Saints game. If you guys remember, Mitch played 1 play and got injured. He rushed for 3 yards and got out. But you look at Foles' numbers. He was 28 of 41 for 272 yards. Almost completed 70% of his passes. He had 2 TDs.
We losing you, guy.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
I can hear
you.
Okay. Yeah, he had a pick. He had 3 20-yard passes, and of course he had no rushes, which is kind of synonymous with him.
You got the slide. We losing you. Vocally.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we hear you fine. I think Jay may have problems hearing you.
Oh, okay. You had problems seeing me.
Oh, go ahead, guy. We can hear you fine.
Okay. Drew's numbers are Drew's numbers. 31 of 41, almost 76% of his passes completed, 280 yards, 2 TDs, no picks. But remember, they brought Taysom Hill in, and he didn't even throw a pass. He ran the ball 5 times for those 35 yards. Remember, he just was going crazy. And I'm like, why don't they stop this dude, man? So if you look at it with what we have, I mean, Drew Brees is Drew Brees, but really, I had like another little.
I think we the lost guy.
Oh,
we
no.
the lost guy and all his info.
Oh, no, man. Am I back?
Can anybody hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you, Jay.
Oh.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think we had lost. We lost guy with his info.
Oh no, we can hear him.
I think we lost.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
don't forget, Drew Brees also had a collapsed lung this season.
Yeah,
ain't nothing. He could have played. He could have drank some Robitussin and came back in the game, man. But you know what? I didn't have time to kind of do it, but I kind of like broke some things down, which was interesting about Drew Brees. Like for the games he's played, like January games, he completes like 68% of his passes. Like 3 TDs. He had 3 TDs the last game. When he's behind, he's like a little worse, but his worst is he only completes 67% of his passes. On Sundays, it's like 70% of his passes. He's like lights out. Third quarter, he's like 68%, 1 pick. When the margin is like anywhere between 8 and 14 points, he's like 4 TDs and a pick. His numbers are really, really consistent. But then when I look at, I was looking at Mitch's numbers, and it's kind of interesting that he played bad in November, but since then he's like 72 or 78%. He's actually doing really good. So when you really look at what they're trying to do with the Bears and what we have with Mitch Trubisky, as much as sometimes people want to use the word paltry or whatever you want to call Mitch is actually he's kind of steady. So if he doesn't make these bonehead mistakes and just plays within the flow of the game and just let the game come to him and only take what they give him, we had a really good chance of beating them because, like you said, we were up 13-3, right? So now you taking this new and improved Mitch Trubisky. I think we got a really, really good shot of, getting an upset.
Hey, Guy, I believe from watching that game again, when you mentioned Taysom Hill, I think he actually caught a touchdown pass. I think that's how they got their second touchdown.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he did.
Okay.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
What made it so bad was everybody in the planet, Stevie Wonder, Helen Keller, the Three Blind Mice, that Mole in February, all of them knew that when number 7 dropped back, he wasn't going to pass. He was going to run. He was still getting yards. Like I said, if you can't slip him, trip him.
Hey, that was some good information. You know what? We want to do another recap of the season. It's still the top 5. Since it's season, we're going to do Tammy's top 10. You ready, Tammy?
Right.
Okay.
Tammy's top 10.
Right. Here we go.
So I would say we still could have had a much better season. I think our record could have been more like 11-5. That's what I'll call if we had played the way we needed to. So on this play, you got them going to Miller for the long pass, and he does his little shimmy shake at the end. I guess he got his touchdown dance.
Hey. I like it.
And then his next pass, they go to Graham. I don't know why we don't always have Graham in the red zone, like Bernard always says too, and I say it, like we need Graham when they're in the red zone, because Komet just don't make it happen. Then this next play, we got Montgomery for a beautiful 80-yard touchdown run. He takes it all the way to the house, and it's just a beautiful run.
He tired now.
Yeah. And this was a gorgeous play. Patterson he got to get him one off, and he, ran it all the way back for the kickoff return, and nobody was even close to him. Beautiful. When we were playing pretty well.
104 yards.
104 yards.
Record.
Now, to give the defense a little bit of love, the next play is going to be a defensive play where we had a little bit of making it happen with Matt when we had them pushed back and we got a safety. When the Bears are being aggressive and not afraid, we like it like that when we're the monsters of the Midway. This is the Minnesota game, and it was a Mooney.
My man Mooney.
Touchdown run.
Mooney.
Lots of promise from him that we looking forward to seeing. This play is also in the Minnesota game. Montgomery. And Montgomery had a pretty good season when we allowed our running game.
When we allowed it to happen.
When we
allowed
it to happen. When we allowed it to happen, we got some production out of Montgomery, which I hope they do Sunday. And then his next play was a beautiful hit by Kyle Fuller. I know Mike is one. I know Mike was talking about him, but this one was.
Yeah, Plank. I know you like that one. I know you like that one, Plank.
That looked like it hurt.
Right.
Oh, and this was the sack of Mike's favorite quarterback.
Right. What are we doing here?
Flat on his butt.
What are we doing here, people?
Seeing him flat on his butt.
What are we doing here, people? What are we doing?
And then the last one is a series of beautiful passes to Allen Robinson to show how he was open this season, and they got the ball to him.
All the time.
To Jay's point, with the stats, he had over 100 receptions, over 1,000 yards, which we don't always have. But it's good to see an effective wide receiver, and it's good to see us utilize him and for us to make smart passes when we do pass, because we are definitely more running things. But the good connections with A-Rob gave us some pretty good highlights.
We do not win in those orange jerseys.
You're exactly right. You're exactly right, Mike.
We do not winning those orange jerseys.
We don't. We absolutely don't.
Not at all.
So if they had a laser call all season, I think we would have been at least 11-5.
I agree with you totally. I agree with you totally, Tammy. I agree with you totally.
Good job, Tammy. I don't appreciate y'all putting Tom Brady on here looking like that.
Octavius Thomas, I don't appreciate that. Bradley,
right?
Broadfield, all these other names you were talking about.
Greatest of all time, man. He's done more with less than any other quarterback to ever play the game. That's all I'm gonna say.
I'm gonna tell you something.
You should have put it on repeat.
You're in Chicago, young lady. You're in Chicago. I can find you.
I ain't scared. You can meet me right up on 95th and Stony Island. Let's go.
I ain't going over there. Wait, here I go. I'll be over there.
But I'm gonna tell you something, Mike. Tom Brady gonna lose this weekend.
To the Redskins?
Jay.
Yes.
Jay.
No, not the Redskins. The Washington football team.
Jay.
The Washington football team is gonna beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Here we go.
Saturday. Tomorrow.
Here we go.
Tomorrow. Tomorrow.
We cannot.
Oh man, you looking like Little Richard, man.
Right. We cannot continue to have this tomfoolery on this show. You cannot continue to pick bad like that and think I'm going to support you with this tomfoolery.
Pick bad. I'm not picking bad.
Man.
I'm not picking bad. Mike. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to lose to the Washington football team tomorrow. I'm telling you.
No.
Shots fired.
You know what, Jay? There comes a time when every man's life where he must be a realist.
Every man's life where he must.
And this is not your time. But go ahead. Let's continue on with the show because this has gotten out of hand. This is. It's already been a bad week in America, and you try to pull this. We're gonna beat them in Washington. It's gonna happen. We're gonna invade Washington the right way. It's going down. The Buccaneers are going to skin the Washington. These dudes don't even have a name. I can't even call them nothing. What is their mascot name?
They are the football team. They are the Washington. We're gonna beat the Washington football team. We're gonna beat the Washington football team.
We're gonna beat it's not like rapping dude. That's all we got. They ain't got a name, man. I don't even know why we going to play somebody without a name. They couldn't even afford a name. That don't make no sense, man. They going home.
You heard it here. I can say.
I heard a lot of stuff here. I'm just telling you.
All I can say
I heard a lot of stuff here. First you picking this, and she talking about 95th and Stony. This is a bad day. I just can't have it. Oh my God.
Hey, like to thank everybody who's watching right now on Facebook, YouTube, and also Twitch TV. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button at the bottom. If you're watching on Twitch TV, hit that follow button. And I'd like to note that Guy had something he had to take care of, so Guy had to jump off the broadcast. And Donte just went back to school, so he won't be able to make the broadcast tonight. Look like Tammy may be having a little difficulties as far as staying on the broadcast. But
yeah, Mike just scared her.
No, you scared me.
Wait, I'm not scared of Mike.
There you go.
I'm not scared of Mike.
I drive fast on Stony.
I grew up over east, so ain't not gonna happen.
That's one island I don't use my passport for. I'm just saying. Not at all.
So the question tonight is, what do the Bears need to do to beat the Saints? Who wants to start off?
Run the ball. I'll start off. Run the ball.
Okay.
The same game plan that they had last week against Green Bay, where you keep the quarterback off the field, time of possession, you run the football, you throw it when you have to. That's what the Bears can do to win this game. And I stopped short of my prediction, but that's what you need to do. You need to play good defense. You need to play good defense and run the football. And, we played the Saints earlier this year, and looking back at that game, the Bears were successful in a lot of areas with Nick Foles at quarterback. So I'm thinking with Trubisky at quarterback, it can happen. It can happen. So run the ball, take some time off the clock, and the defense got to show up.
Okay.
Play 4 quarters, like I always saying. Play 4 quarters. We need both sides to show up, have a solid offensive game. Need the defense to be the monsters of the midway that we are. Get some tackles. I need somebody to put a muzzle on Nagy. And if you have to, lock him in the locker room, but don't let him call nothing. So keep him in his place. Let Laser call the game. And play good old-fashioned Chicago football.
Okay.
Yeah, I got you. So I think first of all, the Bears need to bring their A game. Drew Brees is a legitimate Hall of Famer, but he's on the back end of that career. He's not what he once was, so I think we've got an opportunity to kind of limit him. They've got some offensive tools. Kamara is a beast. Hopefully he's a little bit out of shape coming out of that 1 week off of COVID. And it looks like they're going to get Thomas back as well. First time we played them, they didn't have their full contingent of offensive players. From a defensive perspective, I think we can actually get at them. And to Jay's point and Tammy's point, run the ball. I like our chances offensively against them, even though they have a higher rated defense at this point. I think we're gonna show up against the Saints a lot better than people giving us credit for. What do you think, Mike?
Huh?
What had happened was.
Yeah. In order for the Bears to win this game, they need to go to New Orleans and steal all of the COVID vaccines, all of the vaccinations. But one thing that may happen and may not happen, Kamara may play. They said that he may be getting cleared for Sunday to play. As you stated, that Michael Thomas is back. But I'm not too much concerned about what they have going on as opposed to what we have going on.
Absolutely.
Jalen Johnson is going to be critical for us. If he can come back and play, I think that we have a really good shot. It's going to depend on our defense. Our offense has been scoring points and moving the ball efficiently this past couple of weeks. So what we're going to have to do, we're going to have to run the ball. I'm not saying funky like a monkey this week. We're going to have to run the ball. We're going to have to get the ball to the tight end. The tight end is always the guy that's open, believe it or not.
Yes.
He's normally the guy that's open. We got to get the
Yes.
ball to the tight end.
Yes.
We have to utilize our receivers. Get the ball to what I want to call him Moolah Mooney. We got to get the ball to that guy and continue to figure out how we can get him into the ball and get him the ball and get him in space and let the other team figure out how to stop him. But we have to run the ball, play good defense. That's what scares me. And we have to be efficient on offense. 3rd down conversions, 4th down conversions, and stop kicking so many field goals. We got to score touchdowns. That's it. That is it.
Yeah, and I meant to say that too. Like when we get in the red zone, put Graham in, take Komet out. Like stop. I meant to say that. So when you said get it to the tight end, I agree.
Hey, with Santos, that's easy money though.
And that's our problem. And that's our problem. You can't.
I can just like body slam.
First of all, you're gonna have to meet me on. No, I was gonna say Cottage Grove. That ain't safe either.
You were born here, right? You went to Julian, right? Like Julian wasn't exactly like the safest place in the world.
Julian is a block away from Beverly. How dare you?
Julian.
It was not. How dare you?
Julian.
Julian is a block away from
It was
Beverly.
Julian.
It is called Washington Heights area. heights, many new heights. One walk from Beverly.
Let me give my synopsis of what's going on. I think in this game, we need both sides to play their part. We need a great offensive plan, and we need a good defensive plan, and we need a lot of discipline. One of the things that happened in that game that actually extended one of the drives was, I think it was Williams punched the guy. So you know that safety, I think it was a corner. You know that corner is going to probably come back in this game, teasing the Bears about that play. But that play actually gave them life, and I think it ended up leading to a field goal. But the Bears had actually stopped them on that third down play, and he punched that player, which extended that drive and then led to a field goal. So this needs to be disciplined on offense and defense. And I think they do that and run the ball well, manage the clock, and don't give Drew no explosive plays. And you got to really stop Kamara in both the running game and the passing game. But I'll be satisfied if you can stop him in the run game, because then you start shutting down some of the play action that they'll run. But that guy is like Marshall Faulk, like when you see him on the field playing. So, hey, let's move to the bragging rights. We're not going to spend a lot of time.
Actually, if you notice, the Bears' defensive penalties has gone down considerably since Buster Screen has been out of the game.
Oh, yeah.
And before we go to bragging rights, Bernard, you got your injury report.
And Keith, not only that, the Saints are the most penalized team defensively in the NFL. Just to throw it out there.
Okay. All right.
Just to throw it out there.
Okay. Hey, so the bragging rights, I guess we be almost like the NFL. Once you get to playoff, all teams go to 0-0 really when you get to the playoff.
Right. You don't even count no more.
I won that. That's the end of that.
You don't even count no more.
I won that.
So we don't really have to do the bragging rights. Hey, let's go to the injury report. Hey, Mike, you want to do the injury report?
I'll do the injury report.
Okay. Let's bring up the injury report.
So we have the injury report for the Bears and the Saints. I'm going to do it in my broadcasting voice. I'm waiting on the next slide. All right. For the Chicago Bears, Roquan Smith is listed as questionable. Jalen Johnson is listed as questionable. Darnell Mooney is listed as questionable. And Buster Screen, praise the Lord, is out for the game. I just want you guys to know that the Lord answers prayer. Amen. For the New Orleans Saints, Nick Easton is out. Trey Hendrickson is out. And Taysom Hill, interestingly enough, has a concussion.
Yeah.
And that is going to be very big.
Yeah.
Wait,
very
Buster
big.
Screen got a concussion too for 4 games ago, and he out.
Whoa. Listen. His mind wasn't there when he was there. All right. He wasn't there. Buster Screen couldn't cover his in the Magnum. That's all I'm gonna say.
Every time guy shuck his phone, man, he had a
man. As long as he's out, we got a chance to win. That's all I'm gonna say.
Right. Man. Okay.
Trey Hendrickson out for New Orleans is big though. That's big.
Actually, Taysom Hill being out.
And Taysom Hill,
if he's out,
he can't play,
that's very huge.
Too.
Yeah,
they line him up everywhere.
Yeah, that's big.
Yeah. That's so he must have went to 95th and Stony and got whooped on and got that. He was like, meet me at the school.
And he met Tammy in the parking lot.
3 o'clock.
And he met Tammy in the parking lot. He met Tammy in the parking lot. And he was like, what?
Yeah. You play for the Saints? Yeah. Concussion check, homie.
Yeah. Right.
Where Funtown used to be. Meet me up there.
You got the Queen Latifah braids in. You probably set it off on Taysom Hill. She set it off on him. All right, I'm done. I'm done. I seen the Diary of a Mad Black Woman. I'm done. Hey.
As far as predictions, I read the first prediction I received so far. Guy sent his prediction. Guy has the Bears winning 30-27.
Ooh,
that's very interesting.
All right, guy. I like that.
Okay.
I like that.
Who's up next?
I'll go next. Since Guy just inspired me like that. Well, I have the Bears winning 30-28. So I'll go with Guy. I'll take that.
Wow.
That's very interesting.
Who's next?
You know what? I'll go. I'll go myself.
Okay.
I think, regardless of what the X and O's say, I think this Bears team finds a way to win this game. I think New Orleans is a good example of a team that always make up some excuse why they always lose the playoff game. They excuseville, but I think because that's who they are, the Bears are going to beat New Orleans Saints 24-21.
All right.
Wow. Okay.
Who's up next?
I'm trying to find a quarter.
So I say, as long as Nagy don't get his behind in there, and somebody put a muzzle on him, let Laser call the game. I think the Bears are going to pull it out, and I say we're going to win 27-20.
27-20. Okay.
27-20. That's 7 points. 27-20.
Jake can hardly wait.
You got that Julian.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure you picked them by 7 points. I'm like, 7 points.
Carry the one. Okay.
All right, it's up. It's between me and Jay. Here we go. I am looking at the Bears' schedule. They lost to Tennessee. They lost to the Packers twice. They beat the Bucs by 1 point. They lost to Indy. They lost to the Saints already, and they lost to the Rams. They have beaten one playoff team this season by 1 point. So, in the interest of being fair, I'm not picking the Bears this week. The Bears go down to New Orleans and eat all those special donuts and lose 24-19. It is a blessing for them to even be in the playoffs. I'm actually mad they're in the playoffs because this may not do the reconstruction that we need to get better next year. So I'm going to do like Jay and be a realist. I may have to have myself. I don't know. But 24-19.
You ain't getting your caramel cake.
All that flack you gave Jay last week.
Wait, you ain't getting your caramel cake.
I'm not gonna get my caramel cake. That's all right, as long as I can get one verse of love don't mean a thing. I don't have you. If I don't have you, yeah. As many times I heard baby in that song, I was like, Tammy is talking to me. Jesus.
You up, Jay?
Look here. I'm gonna tell y'all something. For some reason, I believe the Bears are gonna win this game.
You believe you can fly?
I said it when the matchup came up last week. I think the Bears are gonna win this game. I think we're gonna control the clock. I think Mitch is gonna have a decent game. I'm just really thinking that the flow of this game, even with Roquan out, and Alvin Kamara might be able to do a few things. But looking at, I actually watched the game from week 8 or week 10 or whenever it was we played them. I actually watched it yesterday. And I'm looking at how Nick Foles was the quarterback, and now Trubisky is the quarterback, which is what I said after this game. Like, we need to bring Mitch back. But I think the Bears are going to win this game. I think the Bears are going to win this game, and I'm going to give it to them 24-20.
Yo, mira, vamos ahora, por favor, huh? Yeah. The only reason I picked the Saints was because no, listen.
Right?
I will never pick the Packers to beat the Bears. I'm just gonna go on record and say that.
Hey, I'm a realist.
I'm a realist now, and we can't cover with our starters. So we have too many backups on defense, and our starters couldn't cover people. That's what we got. I mean, it is what it is, and we're going into the game. But I'm
gonna tell you something. Looking at the game that we played against them earlier in the season,
we had Roquan. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, we did have Roquan.
Our best defensive player.
But Alvin Kamara wasn't really a threat in that game. He was more a threat receiving than he was running, and I'll take that. I'll take him as a receiver versus him as a runner. So,
Jay, listen to me. I need you to hear me. I need you to hear me well. I'm not even concerned about Alvin Kamara as a runner. The Bears haven't given up really many big games running this year. It is the secondary. We are talking about Chuck Pagano. Oh, hell no. As a defensive corner.
Our secondary is our weakness.
The guy that's in covering for Roquan Smith can't even drop back deep to cover the middle third as the middle linebacker. I'm not worried about the Bears in the run game. I said that they cannot cover. Anytime you got Trevathan in pass coverage, it's not going to be good.
That's why I say
a couple games ago.
Mike, that's why I say when I'm looking at the X and O's, I come to your conclusion. But when I look at the reality of this team, to me, has been resilient in times that they needed to be resilient. And also, New Orleans every year has an excuse why they lose a playoff game. Oh, the refs called this. Oh, it was passing.
Don't blame it on the refs.
Oh, every year New Orleans have. In fact, last year they lost in the first round. I mean, every year New Orleans have some excuse. As a matter of fact, it'd be fitting that it's just like the Bears retired Brett Favre, that the Bears retired Drew Brees. It would be fitting.
I agree because
I think we're going to score points. We're going to score points, but and just to go on record, that was pass interference in every
it was.
of the game.
It was.
So
but the game don't come down to one play, like Tammy always say. It doesn't come down to one play.
And you talk about being resilient. I've been resilient on this show for the past 4 weeks, and I still haven't gotten caramel cake. So that's what the Bears are.
But I'm gonna tell y'all something.
You got to go to 95th and Stony Island Avenue, man. What?
Right.
You delivered? We got Uber Eats. No,
hey, but I'm gonna tell y'all something. The bottom line, I'm gonna tell y'all something. For some reason, I think the Bears are gonna win this game. They backed into the playoffs, and everybody can say they don't belong. They shouldn't be here. They got nothing to lose, and I think the Bears are gonna win this game. On the road. The last time the Bears won a game on the road in the playoffs as a wild card was 1994.
Ooh, Lord.
They once that. So yeah, we talking about some years. But I think the Bears are gonna win this game.
And you think Washington gonna win? That's why I gotta pick New Orleans.
I think Washington is gonna beat, which is a separate thing. But yeah, I think Washington gonna beat Tampa Bay.
I need you to stop picking your picks in Braille. All right. And there we go.
I got my glasses on. They ain't blind.
They on backwards. Your glasses are on backwards.
Hey, we'd like to thank everybody who watched us tonight on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch TV. I believe the game is at, 3:40?
Yeah.
3:40. So we're looking at a post game about 7 p.m. on Sunday. So we'd like to thank everybody. Enjoy your evening. Peace.